Deep in the southern desert of the Kingdom of Jordan, near the Great Dead Sea, is the UNESCO World Heritage Site of Petra, voted one of the new 7 wonders of the world. From the 4th century BC, Petra was the capital of the Nabatean Empire, settled by nomadic Arabs who turned it into a flourishing trade hub for silk, spices and slaves until it was conquered by the Romans. Eventually it was destroyed by a massive earthquake. By the 12th century, Petra was occupied by the Crusaders, then abandoned by all, except for the local Bedouins until it was rediscovered in the 1800s. Today, Petra is Jordan's great natural money-making resource. The trails winding through the towering canyons that once carried silken slaves is now supplanted with the traffic of tourists. Over 600,000 international tourists flocked to the southern desert this past year to visit the ancient city carved out of rose-colored sandstone cliffs in the deep gorges that cut through the arid and scorched desert. Petra has become so popular that it has been the backdrop for many movies, including Indiana Jones and The Last Crusade. Although Petra is the crown jewel of the Jordanian tourist industry, there has long been concern about the treatment of the more than 1,300 animals working there. The 3 working animals found inside Petra are horses, donkeys and camels. Various Jordanians, most whom call themselves Bedouins, make their living walking around the Petra site selling animal rides and local trinkets to the tourists. Because the archaeological site is large and spread out with a challenging terrain, riding an animal about the site can be very useful on those hot days in southern Jordan. Most tourists who visit Petra have no idea the size and magnitude of the site, and many are completely unprepared for the extensive amount of walking they must endure to visit the attraction and explore the many wonders of the location. Besides the strenuous hiking, the temperatures down in the canyons of Petra can be 75 degrees and higher with little or no available shade. Some of the tourists struggle to hike down the Al-Sek, the narrow gorge, in some points no more than 10 feet wide, as it winds its way almost a mile to the end, which reveals Petra's most elaborate ruin, Al-Hasna, the treasury. But after arrival at the Al-Hasna, visitors often opt to climb a broader donkey to ascend the steep steps which lead up to the monastery. Donkeys are the only means of carrying water and supplies up the 900 extreme steps which wind their way to the shops at the monastery, a monument miraculously built out of the rock on the high mountainside. And those same donkeys haul tourists back down those eroded steps because many can't make the trip on their own. As the local Bedouins who work at Petra depend on their animals to financially survive, the alleged mistreatment of the donkeys, horses, and camels, who are forced to carry tourists or pull carriages in the city every day, has come to the attention of animal rights organizations. These monitoring groups have made demands on the Jordanian government to scrutinize the treatment of the animals because many are suffering. Camels seem to be treated better than horses and donkeys because of the ancient world respect given to camels. Donkeys and horses are regularly victims of injury as they work over rough and slippery trails, especially the Al-Sek path, which winds its way down the gorge, emptying out at the front of the famous treasury building. Currently, the Bedouin guides push their animals hard, trying to sell rides to the tourists, to make ends meet due to a significant drop in tourism because of COVID and the civil conflict in nearby Syria.
taxi.
A beautiful site such as this should be accessible to as many people as possible, and for all these reasons the donkeys, camels and horses with their friendly handlers are standing by to do the hard work for those who don't have time to see Petra, who are lame, or who might be out of shape to endure rigors of the site. But there have been suggestions and demands that the animals be removed from Petra. There is a major concern in Jordan that a campaign to limit the number of animals at Petra would be counterproductive by damaging a major income source to the nation, as well as depriving the local Bedouin community, which has long owned the working animals, of their livelihood, having an even greater negative impact on their welfare. If not removal, then suggestions have been made to limit the number of passengers per cart that the horses pull through the Alsek. Not only limiting the number of people but slowing down the number of rides would improve the conditions of the working horses. By doing less rides and taking less people at a time, they will improve the condition of its working animals, which will result into healthier, happier horses. The spotlight has been shined on the treatment of the animals by many anti-cruelty organizations and from tourists who are aware of the cruelty issues, as well. The Jordanian government has cooperated with and continues to work with these organizations in raising awareness about animal protection and the proper and humane treatment of animals among the Bedouins. The teachings of Islam urge Muslims to treat animals humanely and with kindness, and it strongly commands them to handle the animals with compassion. But above all, it is up to the tourists to help improve animal welfare at Petra. Most of the visitors to this attraction underestimate the amount of walking they will have to undertake. Plan which parts of the vast city you want to visit and allow plenty of time to get there at a walking pace you are comfortable with. Don't rely on the working animals to do the hard work. Prepare for the heat and take plenty of water, snacks, and sun cream. Dress appropriately and wear sturdy shoes you'll be happy to wear all day in sandy, rocky conditions. Don't go beyond your comfort zone or force yourself to walk further than you can cope. There are beautiful parts to Petra within walking distance for most people. By adequately preparing yourself for the visit, there isn't any need to rely on animals to take you beyond your expectations. But most of all, enjoy the beautiful heritage site known as Petra. Learn of the historical importance of such a place and know that you are privileged to have experienced a wonderful treasure.